Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 290 of the Mike White's podcast. I'm Jack, as always, joined by Casey.
Now then.
How's things, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. How are you?
All good now. I did an eminently sensible thing last night. I knew I was up first thing for work. I had a load of running about to do during work, and then after this, straight onto this. So I went to bed really early, like, let's be sensible. Fell asleep brilliantly at like 8:30, perfect. And then just woke up at midnight, and that was me.
Yeah.
So I feel okay now. In about 2 hours, I'm going to be knackered. Yeah, that's what I get for being sensible. I should have stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd have probably been fine then.
Probably.
Yeah. But other than that, all is great. What was not great was Blackburn 1, Leeds 0.
Yes, and here's one thing. This won't take long.
Yeah. It was weird because I ended up watching this with the Blackburn commentary because my radio on the Leeds end, for some reason, didn't have any sound.
I had similar radio problems.
Yeah, but on the Blackburn end, it did. There was like Blackburn. I thought I will say that this is the first thing I want to say above all else. That's the first league game this season where Leeds have actually been second best and actually deserved to lose the game. Like, Blackburn were better than us. I have absolutely no trouble with the result. But to me, it looked like quite a poor game.
I mean, again, I'm just going to go through some stats here for that game. I'm not disagreeing with you about this, but when you say the words Blackburn were the better team, 11 shots, 2 on target, 28% possession, 215 passes compared to Leeds' 537. Pass accuracy, 67%.
Yeah, you see, the thing, I just thought that they had... I mean, Otani hit the bar. That was a really good chance.
As was the rebound.
Yeah, as was the rebound. But I call that one because it's the same piece of play. Obviously, the penalty leads to the goal. And then in the second half, they had a couple of chances on the break. I thought they had like 4 really good chances, and I thought we had 1. That Monto one. So I had no complaints about the result. I had plenty of complaints about Leeds' performance. But I thought that they were fairly good. But the thing that I was surprised at is I thought it was overall quite a poor game to watch. Whereas the Blackburn commentary... Blackburn were prime Real Madrid. And which I found out, but I suppose it's just maybe what it's expectations. They probably went into that game with low expectations, not expecting to play quite well and win.
I felt it was something of a throwback to Norman Hunter on Radio Leeds' optimism during a relegation campaign.
Yeah.
They're good. I think Blackburn are doing really well. You're like, no, this is just a poor game. This is just dreadful. There was a couple of it. You say, obviously, I think the best chance of the game was Nonto winning the ball back edge of the area and then deciding he hates Ainsley Pears with such immense passion that he lashed the ball as hard as he could straight at him.
Yeah, that was a poor finish, and that was our real best chance. We had a couple of other all right chances, but that was the best one by a long distance, and he really should have done better with that. Blackburn's goal was the penalty. Strout got done by Tyrese Dolan, who Tyrese Dolan was their best player, probably the best player. Well, definitely the best player on the pitch in this game. He did Strout very easily. Strout probably should have done a bit better. And once it comes inside, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I do think it was a penalty. Like, in real time, as soon as I saw it, I went, it's a pen. And then it was.
He dangled the leg out there, didn't he? And if nothing else gave him the opportunity to do it, it was frustrating. But it was Premier League standards. It wouldn't have been overturned at all.
No.
Like, it's just.
No, I think it was a pen. I just thought Leeds... It was so weird watching it before the first lot of changes, because I was watching the game and just thinking, there isn't a load that's like fundamentally wrong with the setup here. It just looked to me like no one was playing well. Everyone was just off it. They looked, and I wonder if it was just down to it being the third game in like a week. Was it 3 and 6 days? Because did we play the Sunday the week before? Can't remember.
Yeah.
3 and 6 days. And I just wonder if they were tired, a lot of them, because they just didn't look at it. No one, I didn't think anyone had a particularly good game. I thought Brendan Aronson really looked off it. I would have absolutely hooked him at half time. And if we'd have had a different manager, I'd have been surprised we didn't. The only real complaint I have about the game, and I don't think we'd have scored anyway with the way we're playing, but how Tyrese Dolan doesn't get sent off for that tackle on Junior Firpo is absolutely beyond me. Like, when you see that, have you seen where the referee stood?
No, it's one of the few bits I haven't seen back.
He is looking at it, dead in line, no one in front of him, and Tyrese Dolan comes in, and one of his legs is knee high, and the other one is just above the ankle. And he absolutely cleans out Firpo. And I do think that a lot of Leeds fans on Twitter said this, and I think they were right. Leeds just sort of checked on Firpo and were like, come on, ref. If they get around the referee when that tackle goes in, I think he gets sent off. And sometimes you do have to, and I fucking hate that this is true. But it's a bit like that with Bamford a few years ago, where he says, so I have to dive to the ref because it don't get given if you don't go down. Well, this is a bit like that. If you don't shout at the referee that that's a red card, he might not send them off. And it was definitely a red card. It was an awful tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, it like you say, it was a really bad tackle, and it's disappointing when something like that's just not picked up on. Just getting back to Leeds, like you say, I thought it was a very frustrating time just watching them. I didn't really understand in the first half when we made the switch with Nonto and James. I've never thought Dan James looked particularly comfortable as someone cutting in from the left-hand side. And I thought Nonto was probably struggling against. Is it Beck who's got a bit of pace about him? Was it Travis that?
It was Beck playing on the left wing, Dolan on the right.
Yeah.
Travis was in middle of midfield.
Like I think watching them, I think they did very well getting back quickly and getting into fairly tight lines defensively. Because when they broke with 5 players. It wasn't. I wouldn't have said, certainly in the first half, I wouldn't have said they were sitting deep.
No, I reckon outside of the last maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the end, they did go into a proper low block then, and still counted okay out there. But for the most part, I thought it was a sort of evenish game. We had more of the ball, but they did a lot more with it. And
yeah, I just found every time we got the ball, I just think we were quite slow in transition, and Blackburn recovered very well to get themselves set quickly. Which again, when you talk about Aronson, Nonto, and James, is a bit disappointing that's happening. That you're not taking advantage of those turnovers.
Yeah, another one where, and this is, we're not the first people to say this. A lot of people have Farke's sort of in-game management when it isn't going well. This was another one where we didn't start well, and as soon as we didn't start well, it never looked like doing anything. It was make a couple of like changes, keep the same system, and then 3-1, fuck it. I think the most we've talked about that to death. I think the most interesting bit of it is Bamford came on before Mateo Joseph, which surprised me.
Yeah, I was pretty happy to see it, because I think, especially when you're chasing a game down, it's quite nice to have someone coming on who is very good at pressing the ball, but I think he's so disciplined doing it. Whereas with Joseph, I think he's still learning that aspect of being a striker at this point, and trying to get that. Like, he's got the energy for it. I think it's just harnessing it a bit more.
Yeah, well, that's people who are a lot better at noticing out of play things than me. They all say that Bamford's a very intelligent presser. Like, Joseph runs around more than him. But Bamford seems to make better decisions in that regard. But that's based on last season, because we haven't seen him enough really to comment this season.
Yeah. So it's one of those where the further it gets like this, where you don't have either one of Pirou or Joseph pulling away as your first choice striker, you do get closer and closer to a point of just going, maybe Pat starts a game.
If he keeps staying
fit.
If
he stays fit enough to start a game, at some point you go, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I know that's always going to end with, and then he got injured.
Yeah.
So you're back to where you were, but if he's there and you're paying him a shed load of cash, you might as well play him at some point.
Yeah.
The other one I thought, and I know that there was kind of a lot being made about Brendan Aronson. I was reading, I think it was Rob Conlon's article about him on the Square Ball the other day as well, about having a touch of the Jesse Marshes of he doing interviews absolutely everywhere. But I do think there is also something to be said about him and probably Rothwell and Tanaka playing the vast majority of those 3 games. But the issue with those 3 is, one, yes, we do have options for Aronson, but I don't think Farker really sees many others in his squad as a 10 that he would like to play. And your options at centre mid is Guilavogui or Crew.
Yeah. He kind of intimated in the press conference that if Aronson was to drop out at the minute, he'd be leaning towards Rothwell 10 and say a fit again Ampadu in midfield with Tanaka, rather than sort of not playing Nonto and Ramazani and them two just sometimes being 10, sometimes being on the wing. They can swap as much as they want. Which would be interesting to see. And there's a chance that we could see that this weekend, because you would think after this full week of Ramazani being on the bench 3 times and coming on twice, he's probably a lot closer to starting.
Yeah, it's. I think it's just one of those where we said it before. You've come out of those 3 games. You've averaged 2 points per game from that, and it's what you need to be doing. But it's just disappointing in a game like that, because I know Blackburn are doing decent in the league, but you just watched that game and just thought, I don't think it would take a lot more for us to get on top of this. But the only saving grace is you look at the rest of the league and go, well, every fucker else is losing or drawing away from home.
Yeah.
So we might as well.
At the minute, Sheffield United are on a really good run, but everyone else has been dropping stuff.
Yeah. So, like you say, it's then having a week between games. Ramazani having a bit of time to recover means, like you say, there's a chance I don't think he starts, but I think we then start looking at him coming off the bench a bit earlier. 72nd minute.
Yeah, well, it'll come up a bit later on, but I was thinking that he probably doesn't start this one, but he maybe chances it against Middlesbrough Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much for that. The one thing that I didn't even factor in when I was watching the game, thinking we looked tired, Blackburn had one of their 3 games called off. And I do wonder if that gave them a bit more legs, because they did look more energetic than us. And also, you have to give a lot of credit to John Eustace, because that's 3 games in a row where he's beat Leeds 1-0. So, once that happens 3 times, you have to go it's a bit like when it wasn't one of them Gary Monk kept beating Bielsa. And once it happened 4 times, you're like, well, he's done something can't really...
Yeah, like you say, it's fair enough. I thought, I think to round that off, you probably say Blackburn were fairly well organised, played with a decent bit of energy, and I thought they managed the game pretty well once they were in front.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There has been a couple of links, but I don't really know. One of them was so spurious it's not worth getting into. The other one is to Dor Turgman, who like Maccabi Tel Aviv striker. I know he's 21 and plays for Maccabi Tel Aviv and is an Israeli international. I don't know anything about him.
What I can tell you, Jack, is 3 years in the future on Football Manager, he is a permanent signing at Leeds, having had a half decent season on loan, and we signed him from AC Milan.
Oh, cool.
He's a decent player, and I assume one of Israel's best.
So he's good on FM.
Yeah, he's fine.
Cool. That's more than I know.
Yeah, outside of, in the real world, well, fuck knows.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Whenever I hear of someone signing a player from Israel, it just makes me think of the Sunderland documentary in the 90s. Going after that Israeli lad who it turns out just had a completely knackered leg.
Yeah.
I assume we've put more effort into this one than that, but who knows?
Yeah, apparently it's the people who've sort of put this out there are the people who were first on Solomon to Leeds. So based on literally one thing that they've got right before, I can say, well, they've been right before. And I haven't paid enough attention to them to know of all the other times where they weren't.
Yeah.
So Derby at home tomorrow. They are somewhere, I don't know the exact 15th, I can now say. I knew that they were lower mid-table. Which, for a newly promoted side is fine. Looking at their team itself, it doesn't look like much at all.
It's every week is that, isn't it, at this point? It is just, yeah.
Yeah, well, they had Max Bird and Louis Sibley in League One, who were their stand-up, but they've gone elsewhere now. They did sign Ben Osborne, and Ben Osborne's a good midfielder. I think he's pretty decent, and I always do this every single time. Jerry Yates, not Ryan Yates, who's a different person. Jerry Yates up front, he's pretty decent. He's their top scorer with not many. It's like 4 or 5. 4. But he's a pretty decent striker. Craig Forsyth at left back's been there forever. The one player that I've seen a bit about and that people really seem to rate is that David Ozo, who's centre mid, who's on loan from Palace, but he's injured. And he, from the bits I've seen, is apparently a bit of a standout, and he looks pretty good. So him being out probably helps us a little bit. Because in with Ben Osborne, I've just got sort of the who scored figure. It's Liam Thompson and Kenzo Goodmine, who I don't know anything about. But it doesn't look like a midfield that's in theory going to be able to really get about Leeds. If we're keeping possession well and we're passing the ball well, that shouldn't be able to pressure us that well.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their team from lost to Sheffield Wednesday last week.
Yeah, they're not in great nick. It's 1 win in 6 or something. Yeah,
and Sheffield Wednesday aren't a particularly good team either.
No, they're 12th of Wednesday, which is higher than I thought they were.
Oh God, yeah. God, the mediocrity in this league.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I look through in terms of, there's not a lot I can claim to know about their squad at this point. If I'm being entirely honest.
No. I know they've got Caden Jackson who'll be up for it because wasn't he getting a bit mouthy with Leeds fans because he was at Ipswich?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got.
It was quite funny because he mouthed off to everyone and everyone went, "Come on, you barely played," and then he got released immediately. Which, he's still miles more successful than I'm ever going to be. I'm not. But the timing was funny.
They've got the answer to all of Leeds' defensive problems the last couple of years in Nat Phillips.
Oh yeah, they have, haven't they? And he hasn't been playing.
What's he got? 11 appearances this season.
Yeah,
He's been on loan.
you remember when we were being linked to him from Liverpool, and it was like fucking 12 million.
Yeah,
and everyone was going, he did well when he played, but that seems a bit steep.
Yeah, he played for them, didn't he? When all of their defenders got injured.
Yeah, it was him and Reece Williams.
Yeah,
It wasn't the COVID season where it finished in it. It was it was the next season, wasn't it?
yeah,
The full one, where they lost like 6 games at home in a row. Did Liverpool or something daft just because they had no players? The other one that people say is decent in midfield is that Ebu Adams, but he's suspended. So I don't really know much about him. I know it. I don't actually know how you pronounce his name. I'm guessing Aaron Cashin. I know that he was quite highly rated because he's still quite young. He's like early 20s, and I know that he was talked up quite a lot. But I haven't seen much of him myself. Nathaniel Mendes-Lang as well, who they've had. He's one of them that's been around for absolutely ages, and I bet he's about 25.
No, he is 32. I will give you that one.
Oh, so he is, but I mean, he's been around forever. Was he the one that broke the youngest player record at one point, or was that a different double-barreled surname?
I think that might have been someone else.
Yeah, I think I've got the wrong person because he was by the looks of it, he was at Wolves as a kid, and I want to say it was for Barnsley.
I mean, by the way, what a switch in international allegiances. 2008, England under 16s. 2008, England under 17s. 2023, Guatemala.
Oh,
15 appearances for Guatemala at this point.
Oh, cool. Takes me back to a really old FM where even in like the conference, you could sign world-beating Guatemalans for like $4,000. That Torquay United team I had was amazing. I have looked it up because it was bothering me. The person I was thinking of was Ruben Noble Lazarus.
Oh, yeah. Great name. He never did rise again.
Yeah, nice. The main thing that I've seen, but from everything I've read and stuff, and having a look at the stats, Derby are really good from set pieces. Both attacking and defending. Defending them doesn't matter that much because we're crap at attacking them. But them being really good at attacking set pieces worries me.
Yeah. I've no idea at this point. We're at home, so we're going to win. That's what the championship has taught me.
But we should.
No, we will. We will win at home because no one wins away. Ever.
Yeah.
I don't care what that 23% says. Literally no one. Literally. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, there'll be some set pieces. Yeah, Nat Phillips is very tall. And I dare say they will win more headers than we would like them to. But it's not going to matter because Derby are away. And you're not allowed to win away from home.
Yeah. There is a bit of team news. Apparently, Junior Firpo is quite a late call on fitness. And with us playing Middlesbrough on Tuesday night, I think that he might not risk it and save him for Tuesday. Sam Byram is definitely out. Isaac Schmidt's only just back from hernia surgery. So I think that we could see a start for Max Verber at left back, which would be interesting given how attacking our left back normally, even when it's Byram, he will go forward and like invert and play with his back to goal. And that doesn't seem very Max Verber. Even though his technique isn't bad by any stretch, it just doesn't seem like his sort of thing.
Max Verber seems like more like the type who would step into midfield, like as more of a central role.
Yeah, he'd be an inverted fullback rather than inverted wing back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, ability-wise, I have no qualms with him being there. He will get booed.
Maybe.
And we'll probably move past it then.
He barely got booed when he came on the other time. He was barely there, so I think it'll probably calm down by this time.
All right, well, I will go and boo him then.
The more interesting news is that Daniel Farke said that Ethan Ampadu is back in training. Now, it's obvious he's too early to play him for this one, you'd be pretty certain. Farke said that he would normally like to give him 2 to 3 weeks, but with Ampadu, he is tempted to go a bit earlier, given, by the sounds of it, just that he's recovered really well and he's looking good. And the quote was before mid-December. Because he's
already the 6th.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe not this game in Middlesbrough, but next weekend?
I mean, it's bold of him to put an actual date on that, because my definition of early and Farke's definition of early are 2 different things.
Yeah.
From
the way he was talking, I don't think he will do this, but I would not be massively shocked if he's named on bench. I would be worried in a way if he was. I'd be like, that seems fast.
Yeah, I mean, I would think he doesn't need to. We've had a week off. Not a week off, but a week in between games. Rothwell and Tanaka will start. And you've got Guilavogui and Crew on the bench. So I don't think there's a pressing, I don't think there's any need for him to be on the bench ahead of him actually physically needing to be there.
Yeah. Much like with Firpo, with, in theory, the Middlesbrough game on Tuesday being the tougher game, you do wonder if that's when he might try and take a chance if he was going to.
Yeah.
So the other question I've got before we just try and work out what the team will be, and normally there's only a couple of things. Is it time to press the Ramazani button? Because he's had a full week, so in theory he should be. I mean, he should definitely be fit enough to start, even if it's with the knowledge that he's probably going to go off with 20 minutes left.
I think I'm tempted to leave him for the Borough game. I think ultimately you've come out of. We'll just pretend at this point that Blackburn didn't happen. The 2 games before that, your 3 wingers that you've played have all done well.
Yeah.
So I think you pick from those 3, and Ramazani starts this one on the bench, and then I think you have an eye on him for Middlesbrough.
Right. I think you're probably right, they'll do that, but I'm still not sure which wingers he'll pick now that everyone's had a rest. Because even though I don't actually think it was the reason, I don't think this was at all the reason why, the bad performance was the one where Solomon didn't play of the 3. So I think it's probably going to be. I still would like it to be Solomon and James on the wings and Nonto at 10, but I think it'll be Solomon, Aronson, Nonto.
That's what I think it'll be as well, and I think it's unlucky on Dan James, but I think that's what he prefers.
Yeah. So yeah, Meslier in goal, Bogle, Road, and Strauch. I think it'll be Verba, but if Firpo's fit, then he will go with Firpo. Rothwell, Tanaka, Solomon, Aronson, Nonto, Peru.
Hang on.
Are you going to flip your coin?
Mateo Joseph.
Right, cool.
That's where we are now.
Yeah. Just quickly glance at my phone and see because just check whether I've got a prediction of Benny as of yet. I have not. So I will, knowing Benny, he will go for a Leeds win, either 2 or 3-0. But both Alex and Connie have gone for 3-0 wins.
I'm going to go 2-0.
Their set-piece record scares me. So I'm going to say 3-1 Leeds. I do think we'll win this. At home, we've been good. As you've said, no one ever wins away, ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's. I think that I just look at them teams on paper and I can't see them hurting us. I can always see us hurting ourselves. But when when I look at that team, I think that we should have enough. But I think that they will get one. Ali has sent in 3-0 as well. So we've got a. That seems to be the consensus. So if it's out like what we normally are, that's what you want to be laying on Betfair. Have we anything to add, Casey, or are we done?
The wonderful local derby of the FA Cup.
Oh yes, the FA Cup draw. I forget the FA Cup.
The Magic Gloves.
Yeah, I forgot about the FA Cup. No, that is a really nice draw. Harrogate Town at home.
Yeah, I think we're still in a position at the moment with cup games where, like, they will get a decent allowance of tickets, but I think the demand
still you have to get 15%.
It's something like that. It's 10 to 15, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think
with our current thing, that's like 4,500.
I mean, I don't think it'll. I think we will offer that. Whether that gets taken, I mean, I suppose.
I think it will.
I think it will. Now
that the Leeds fans.
Yeah. But I think we're still in the position of Leeds fans wanting tickets to cup games like this. So yeah. I think it'll still be a very good attendance.
Oh yeah, I think it'll sell out. Because either the tickets might be a bit cheaper for it. I don't know what they're going to do for that yet. But if they are, that'll make it sell out. Even if they charge a full-on thing, there'll be a lot of people who get a ticket for this for Christmas. I mean, for example, that's what I'm getting my dad. He doesn't listen to the podcast. It's fine. Like I will just pay for his ticket and go, there you go. You never want anything. There is something that I know you want.
Sorts itself out.
Yeah. But I mean, you could get away with like borderline no stewards here.
Yeah, I don't worry the uproar. I don't see them smashing up Subway.
No, I think it'll be, and it is true. Like, I bet. I mean, I have no idea. I was going to say I don't know. I've never been. I mean, I have been for a friendly there, but how many match-going Harrogate fans do you reckon also support Leeds?
I think it's a pretty decent percentage.
Like half?
I reckon so.
Yeah, like it's not going to be in any way a problem. So yeah, but that's quite. It was when the draw came up on our Twitter. Like, that actually feels like a proper cup tie. That's nice to see. It's not like getting fucking Cardiff and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I look forward to our inevitable 1-0 defeat in a game we dominate. But yeah, that will do us for episode 290 of the Mike White's podcast. As Leeds play again on Tuesday, we will. I don't think I'm working late Monday, so probably Monday.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, all things being well, Monday. So yeah, I've been Jax here.
I've been Casey. Have a good one.